everybody. Welcome in to this week's episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Carroll, a.k.a. Merchel, a.k.a. _ Mitchell James on Twitter. Follow us there. Joined by super producer Yahya on the ones and twos, Yahir Vazquez, as per usual. But enough about us. We have a very special guest in studio today. The Rapids general manager, Padraig Smith. Welcome in.
Hey, great to be here. Really excited for it.
We are very excited to have you on today. Lots going on. There it is. Air horns, baby. Bam, 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 bam. We got a lot going on in the Rapids world. Obviously, we just came off the Rocky Mountain Cup opener, the Robin Fraser extension. Off season's not that far in the rearview mirror. There's another window just a couple months away. So a lot to dig into, and mostly it's an opportunity for us to sort of highlight and introduce you to our existing DNVR fan base, and hopefully just open up more Rapids coverage and Rapids excitement.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, super excited with the coverage you guys have been giving. It's been great having you out at the games as well. And as you said, there's been a lot going on, so there's a lot to talk about, and we're thrilled to be here and be able to chat with you guys about it.
Thank you. Yeah. So you've been with the Rapids since 2015.
Correct. Yep.
Took over in 2018 as the boss man up top. First off, since we are DNVR and we're Colorado sports and Denver sports in general, what are you came from Ireland. Now you're over in Colorado. How you're feeling on Denver? What you feel like a native yet? You have a Subaru with a native sticker on the back and a bike rack or anything like that?
I've got a Jeep. I think that's close enough. Right
Very close.
Here. I think that's okay. I love it. I really do. I think I've been really fortunate. I've got to live in Ireland, which is, for anyone who's been there, it's beautiful, absolutely stunning. Got to live in Switzerland as well on Lake Geneva for a few years, 4 years when I was there at UEFA. And I didn't really know what I was coming to over here. I'd spent a lot of time on the East Coast, a lot of time in Boston, and always felt that I would end up here in the US. That was always something I really wanted to do with my life and with my career. Just didn't know how that would ever come about, and figured that when I did get over here, it would be on the East Coast. So when I was invited to come over, I think it was June or July 2014, the previous president, Tim Hinchy, asked me to come over and just do a little bit of consulting work. And I'll never forget it. I mean, I arrived in here just on a stunning summer day.
Perfect.
Sun was shining, which when you're coming from Ireland, it's not always the case. And I remember just strolling around downtown and just being blown away by Denver, and immediately being like, oh boy, I hope they ask for this consultancy to turn into a full-time gig, because this could be a pretty exciting thing to get involved in. And, every day since then has just been incredible. And I'm thrilled. Obviously, it was a big thing to leave UEFA. You're involved in Champions League. You're involved at the very peak, and fortunate enough to have gone around and looked at clubs and, dealt with Man City and Real Madrid and Juventus and, some of the top clubs in the world. And yet when the opportunity came to come over here from both a career perspective in terms of being involved in a club. I've done the National Association at Ireland, done the Confederation at Europe, but you want to put your ideas to the test, and the only way to do that is to be involved in a club. So when that opportunity came up, fulfill my dream of working here in the United States.
That's awesome.
Come to such an incredible place like Colorado, which, as I said, it really did blow me away. I'd always been kind of more tending towards Boston, but man, there's no place I'd rather be than Denver, that's for sure.
We love hearing that. I'm sure everyone tuning in loves to hear that too. And you got here right before the secret went out too, so you can kind of claim that at least, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a temporary native, I guess.
And that is, you're talking about dream job, and obviously you came from a financial background with Ireland and with UEFA, and then you look at a league like the MLS, which has drastically different roster building. You have this budget, and you have this roster slot, and you have a draft, which is basically unheard of in the soccer world. Was there something particular about the MLS that was sort of exciting about where you kind of came from, and being a numbers guy, and there's maybe a little bit more to the puzzle of team building here? Yeah, I
mean, puzzle's a great word. It's a word I use all the time, because I liken it to a jigsaw puzzle, except there's no picture on the box, right? You don't really know what you're building. It's up to you to build it whatever way you want, but you do have to kind of, fit those pieces together, because there's constraints. There's a salary cap structure that is different to anything we've got in Europe. And I think that was a big deal to me. I mean, I think it was a combination really of where I saw soccer in the United States go. I think anybody who was really paying attention can see the potential over here, or could see the potential over here. And, you know, there was a lot of us at UEFA, a lot of folks at UEFA really interested in US sports. So, I mean, we had a big fantasy football league in there.
No way, really?
Yeah, huge fantasy football league. Taken very seriously. I didn't win, and ended up getting kicked out because eventually when I was over here dealing with soccer, I wouldn't change my team, and that was, you know, a real problem for the folks. So, yeah, I ended up getting kicked out of that. But, like, you know, baseball was also huge. You know, we had a lot of Americans working over there. And one of my close colleagues, you know, was a lady from North Carolina, and would have kind of chatted to her quite a bit about it. But we could all see the potential, and it was something that was spoken about in UEFA at the highest levels in terms of, you know, where soccer in the United States was going. You know, obviously you think about the World Cup coming in, you think about the population of the country, the fact that America produces so many top-class athletes. So you figure if we can get our hands on this and really focus on the infrastructure, focus on the youth development side of it, we can start producing players who can be global superstars. So really the potential was really exciting to me. And then, sure, the opportunity to come over and kind of build rosters where there are kind of constraints that can maybe level the playing field, and you have to think a bit outside the box. It's not necessarily just the team that puts the most money down on the table, which is kind of what it is in Europe, right? You know, it's not going to take a genius. I doubt you're going to get good odds on who's going to win the German Bundesliga every year. You know, Bayern Munich are going to be pretty short odds there. Whereas over here, there is the ability to actually build thoughtfully.
Right, you had the 2 4 seeds going for the cup last season.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's something that we take great pride in, and we talk about it all the time. You know, whether it's Wayne Brandt, myself, Robin, you know, Fran, we're constantly talking about these things, just like how do we build something that's really special?
Sure.
And how do we do it in our own unique way? And I think that was just really appealing to me. And you know, as I said, you add that to all the other things about Colorado, Denver, my love for the United States as it is, like it was... Yeah, really easy decision for me.
Right, and so you did take over pre-Fraser, and so, you know, now he's in and obviously has a storied career as an MLS defender, played with the national team, definitely a obviously a very good defensive mind, and managerial mind as a whole. Is that, you know, I guess we kind of want to dig into that relationship. We've talked about your guys' relationship a little bit with Omar before, who's here in studio, and likened it to other Denver relationships like Connolly and Malone. Seems to have a very tight relationship and kind of be on the same page. And you know, you guys just signed him to the extension, and now he's here and committed. And when you have your idea of building a team, and you take all these constraints like roster slots and all that stuff, where do you is it like, okay, now I have this defensive coach, now I kind of have to think defensive minded, or do you like, where's that relationship kind of start to where it's grown to, and you know, how do you get on that same page?
There's a lot in there, man.
There's a lot. I know.
I think it's look, I'm a big believer that I'm nothing more than a custodian of the club.
Sure.
So I'm fortunate to have been given this opportunity to look after and protect this club for a certain period of time. I hope it's a long time,
sure,
but it's going to be a period of time. This club was here long before me. This club is going to be here long after me. And I think the important thing is making sure you left it in a better place than you got it. And one of the things I truly believe in is that no club should ever be at the whim of an individual.
Sure.
That the club's long-term future is always the most important thing. So what you're looking to do is to find a club and to really have a vision, to have a real vision, to have a real sense of your values, a real sense of purpose, what your mission is. And then annually you can have goals for each individual year, but you then want to find people that also believe in that. So at the highest level, we wanted to have a vision, and our vision is like, we want to be the heartbeat of sport in the state of Colorado. Mm-hmm. And we get asked about that all the time. Did you mean the heartbeat of this sport or the heartbeat of soccer? And we're like, no, we want to be the heartbeat of sport.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at from a generational perspective, you know, you look at the shifting demographics, soccer is going to be the preeminent sport in the United States. That is my opinion. Now that may be 25 years away, but we can't get there if we don't start now. So we've got that vision, and then we've got a certain philosophy in terms of what we believe is right. So we focus on youth. Mm-hmm. We want to be a team that identifies, recruits, develops the best young talent, especially from the state of Colorado. It's really important to us. And then we want to be able to play attacking and entertaining soccer. So you've got those kind of high-level philosophies, and I think it's kind of my job to bring in the best people in every different area across the club that believe in that. Because then everybody's coming in with the same ideals, the same motivations. Right. And in Robin, I don't think we could have found better. I mean, for me, he's hands down the best coach in Major League Soccer.
I think that's a very safe take right there.
Yeah. I genuinely do believe that. And he's certainly not just a defensive-minded coach. Let me be really clear about that.
Sure.
Like, and it starts off with him just being a good guy. Like, he's just a really good guy. And he tells a lovely story. It's lovely for me anyway, but he tells a story about the first time we met, where we sat down and he was asked, a couple of weeks ago when he re-signed, when did he know this was the right club or that we were going to be good together or whatever it is. And he was like in the first 5 minutes of our conversation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to hear because I felt like very similarly. Like, and we ended up chatting for 4 hours that day, just chatting about it. And it was very clear leaving it that he believed in what we wanted to do.
Sure.
And what I felt was that we had somebody who was going to be able to execute as a coach and lead the team on a day-to-day basis. And the way we look at it is it's his job and the assistant coach's job to focus Saturday to Saturday. And it's my job along with the rest of our team to focus on making sure the club is prepared year on and year out, or year in and year out. So it's a really nice combination. It works well together. And I think just the way, Robin's got a quiet confidence about him that is infectious. And, the players buy into it because they saw from day one that what he was trying to get them to do worked.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
I mean, you can't argue with the standings, right? I mean,
I think
they saw great success last season. And
yeah, it goes up and down. I think, every week it's ourselves, Seattle, and New England, New York that are right there. But I think right now, since Robin took over, we have the most points in the league, the most points per game, which is almost 3 years now, so it's really good.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so when it's time to, off season just happened and you did bring in, like you said, focusing on youth, a lot of those guys coming in young, just added Vicia young. And you're sitting down for, okay, this is our plan. Is it you, Robin? Like, how big is that team making that decision? How, what's the feel of that meeting like?
Yeah, there's no one individual meeting, I would say, is first, and the team that's making the decision is big. It really is. And I think that's why, again, when you're focused on bringing in good people, you really buy yourself the opportunity to be able to take on board a lot of different opinions that are valuable. And that's something that's so important to us. So, ultimately, in my opinion, you want to try and build by consensus. Now, obviously, there's going to be times when you've got to make a decision. That's fine, and that responsibility is going to stop with me, obviously. But you do want to have people on board, and you want to be able to take on board smart people's thoughts on what's going on. And we're very fortunate that, whether it's, obviously Robin's critically involved, and you've got the rest of the coaching staff will always give input on players. You got Fran Taylor, who heads up our recruitment and scouting. You've got our scouts, you've got our analytics folks. But then you've also got folks on the business side, as well. And we'll go through all that. And ultimately, a lot of the decisions probably come down to, myself, Robin, Fran, Wayne. We're the ones who are going to be sitting, really thinking through. But we're very fortunate that a lot of the decisions we've been able to make recently, we're very much on the same page. So there's not a lot of dissension there. Everybody's really pleased with what we've been able to do.
Yeah, I think feedback from fans and from us, just having a lot of time to discuss the Rapids. It does seem that there's a cultural alignment, not just in the front office, but to coaching and to, and Omar spoke to that it's through the communications department, it's through the trainers, it's, like everybody there seems to be committed to Rapid success and on the same page and how to get that done. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, it's great to hear that Omar says that because obviously that's what you want to hear, and look, those things are going to have ups and downs, and we know we've always got to continue to get better and we've got to continue to work at that, but it is very much what we try and do. We do want to be as inclusive as we possibly can, and we want to take on board people's informed decisions because we want to have experts in the individual areas. And again, when you've got that North Star, when you know what you're trying to achieve as a club, everybody's got a really good sense of that. So we do want to hear people's opinions and thoughts. And yeah, as I said, it's a nice validation that Omar thinks that's happening as well on his side. That's good.
So when you're on the financial side with UEFA and with Ireland, and you come over to more, like you said, you're looking for the club, for that challenge of building a club and building that culture. Has your idea of how that work changed pretty drastically in the time you've done it? Like, you had one idea coming in and now you're sitting here and it's new and it's different and not kind of what you expected?
Well, there were certainly learnings along the way. There's no doubt. And I feel very fortunate, to have come in and had the opportunity to learn. I think that's the really important thing. Like, so I was doing a lot of analytics myself back in both UEFA and in Ireland, and kind of trying to build my own models, which when I look back now are incredibly rudimentary. But I guess that's where the whole kind of analytics world was in soccer. It's still in its infancy.
Sure.
But I'm glad to say we've got people like Fran and Matt Pfeffer in now who can do it at a far higher level than I ever could. But yeah, I think I was fortunate. Coming in as sporting director gave me the opportunity to learn. So Paul Bravo was here at the time, and he'd obviously been in the league since the very beginning as a player. He'd done it as a coach. He'd done it, with the Galaxy as an administrator. Then over here as technical director. So you got to learn from people like that. And one of the things that I feel very fortunate about is that I've got really strong relationships with kind of peers around the league, and started that then. And I like to soak up as much information as I can, and try and, just try and take on board different people's thoughts on how to do things, because there is no perfect way. There is no right way. If there was, everyone would be doing it. So you're trying to always look and get insight on this. So I had certain ideas, as I said, when you've been at Real Madrid and Man City and, clubs like that, you get an understanding of what works for them, but you also crucially get an understanding of what doesn't work.
Oh yeah.
Believe you me, I spent a lot of time with some of those big clubs where they would tear their hair out and say, "I wish we hadn't done this, wish we hadn't done that, or that goes right, or that goes wrong." So you kind of learn the good and the bad, and then you need to understand the idiosyncrasies of MLS, and that certainly was a learning curve. And obviously we've made mistakes along the way, and things that have gone wrong where the outcome's been wrong. And I think that's what I kind of focus on. We like to talk about making consistently good decisions. That if you do that, then over time, I mean, you're gonna end up with a good situation, and you're gonna end up with a good club that does things right, but is always prepared to kind of course correct, is always prepared to listen, even when it's hard. And sometimes you'll say, okay, this didn't work out the way we thought. Why? And you gotta face that, and then you gotta course correct and go quick. If you're going to fail quick, move on and get it right.
Learn from it, keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming from those big clubs, you've obviously seen those massive, supporter groups and fitting 80,000+ fans into a stadium. And, you can't compare a game in the MLS to a game at the Bernabeu or anything like that. But what have you sort of seen in the growth of the Rapids fan base, Rapids supporter groups, and sort of the MLS at large? And I mean, how do you find that there's a role as part of your role to sort of support that and build it up, or is just kind of
I mean, to support it 100%. There's no doubt. I mean, we've all got to be in this together. The way I look at this is ultimately we're trying to grow the sport,
right?
So if we're going to talk about being the heartbeat of sport in the state of Colorado in 25 years, that means the onus is on us to help support the entire sport. So we're all in this together, and that's a consensus you'll hear amongst all the clubs, in my opinion anyway. I would actually say you can compare some of these games, because I'll be honest with you, I've been fortunate. I've been at Champions League finals, European Championships, whatever it is, and games all over Europe. But you go to our game in 2016 against Galaxy. I've not seen anything like it. You look at Thanksgiving last year.
I was in the crowd there. It was awesome.
It was absolutely electric. It was incredible.
I actually got to be there too. That was my first game I ever covered.
It was incredible.
It was the best atmosphere I've ever been a part of when it came to a game.
Yeah,
that's including any sport, and I've been to Mexico games too.
There you go. Okay, if you're able to compare it to that, that's a good situation.
Yeah, that's rowdy. But it was such a cool experience last year for the Rapids.
It really was, and I think that brings you back to representing a city and a state. Everybody was in that together, and that's something that's really cool. And to be honest, you see that around the country. I'll never forget my first time going to Portland.
Oh yeah,
and just being blown away by how many fans were there when we arrived, which was 90 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah, tifos all the way up to the top, to the lights and down.
It's phenomenal. And they're not alone. I mean, Cincinnati last year, my first trip there, incredible. And that's a club that's gone through some teething pains as they're kicking things off. But just what an atmosphere at that game. The supporters behind them, and obviously now they've got Jeff Birding's there, and you've got Pat Noonan coming in, Chris Albright. They're going to make those steps forward. But it's great to see clubs like that build in that way, and that's one of the big differences I've seen over here in the United States. We always talked about, again, coming from the more I don't want to say administrative side, but when you're in the more regulatory side, I would say, with a national association or confederation, you're always looking at what are the ideals. So when you're talking, and when we would talk to clubs, you always wanted to focus on 3 areas. Get your infrastructure right, get your community initiatives right, and get your youth development right. And that's the basis for a good club. You know, and I think a lot of what we see in Europe is that there's a race to try and just spend because there's an urgency for, you know, you need to win every single game. And that is one of the benefits of over here, is that you are allowed to build, you know, and I think the league is looking to do that. You're looking to build for long-term sustainability. And I think that's one thing MLS has got really, really, you know, it's done well. They have focused on those kind of 3 key areas. And again, for us, we want to be a real connector in our community. We want to be something that like, or a club and an entity that really fits in with our community. And I think, again, you talk about the ability to plan. You know, we went through an incredibly tough year in 2018 and at the start of 19. But again, like, to get that support from ownership and from our organization to say, look, we believe in the plan. We just need to continue to go through with it. And then obviously you end up getting the rewards on the other end. So those are things that I think are really good over here. But absolutely, we need to have each other's back, because we need to grow the sport. By the time the World Cup comes here in 2026, we need to be prepared. So this runway that we have over the next 5 years, it's absolutely critical, because in the same way that the World Cup in 94 paved the way for what we're seeing now for the MLS. You know, I wouldn't be here without that World Cup, which Ireland were the only team to beat Italy in that World Cup, by the way.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
At least in regulation, I guess. But, you know, we've got this pathway into 2026. You know, obviously, you know, it's been incredible to be part of the Denver bid group on that as well. And we're super excited about our the possibility of having it. And
I was going to say, like, where's that at? Is that, I mean...
Hey, we're going to find out, I guess, soon enough.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've seen 2 U.S. games at DSG before. I've been there, and fantastic atmosphere. One in the infamous snow Costa Rica game, and then against Trinidad and Tobago with that awesome Pulisic brace there was I mean, you can feel the soccer culture definitely, I think, improving. Absolutely. I know Yaya's been involved with it from the start, but you know, he can probably speak to the growth in Denver as well. And you know, you're obviously no stranger to supporter groups. I know you've been on Matt's podcast, and you've been on a few, probably, right? A few of the local Rapids podcasts, and you're here in studio with us, and it's cool to, you know, it's really cool to see that culture sort of build and grow, and you've seen it all over the world, and to feel like we have a strong culture here in Denver. I think there's a lot of people invested in growing that outside the club, and we were with C38 this weekend. One
thing I can say from that, I grew up in Colorado. I was telling Port before the show. First game I ever went to was Chivas versus USA versus the Rapids down at Mile High. It was the precursor to Santos versus America. There was a huge crowd, but they were all there to watch America versus Santos, because it was a huge Latin community. Now, if you have the same thing, I think the crowd is there for the Rapids.
Absolutely.
I think it's really has grown to the point. Like, I think the Rapids have done a great job of, like, creating this atmosphere where you're feeling like it's more like Europe. You're feeling a little bit more like it's Seattle. You guys are doing a really good job. Omar and Porrigan, everybody included, that, like, these last couple of years, I could really feel like you guys are trying to get the fans involved a lot more, trying to expand a little bit more than what I used to be, what I used to hear on the radio and everything.
No, absolutely, and we've got to continue to do that. As you said, we've got to all be in this together to grow it together. And I think you just look at what C38 did this year. I mean, we've played like 2 snow games already, I think, this year. And that game against Guatemala.
That Comunicaciones game was... It was me, Matt Pollard, Brendan from the Post, Vinny. We were all, you know, triple layered, drinking coffee outside.
It was cold. It was really cold, and yet
I was chilling at my house.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
I was watching it from home. I did not go to that game. I did not want to get a cold. I'll tell you that
we'll
much.
need to force you to the next one. You got to be at the next one.
I've been to a couple of snow games, just not that one. I wanted to hang out at home.
Oh man, that was brutal. That was. I mean, the Snow Classico game, I mean, you know, I may or may not have had some liquid jacket on for the U.S. Costa Rica game, so that was a little different. This one was on a next level, and to see that was Max's first week in Denver, right?
It was. I mean, I talked about arriving in June or July or whatever it was to the sunshine. This has been a cold winter.
Yeah.
It's been a longer winter than I've experienced here. I keep telling him we get more sun than San Diego, and he looks at me. I think he thinks I'm mad, but you know, I guess we'll see it. We know it's going to turn, and there's been some good days here.
You want to pull up that Dev Machine comment there? Dev is a heavily featured
Dev is actually a really huge supporter. He's always involved. He's a part of the C38. He's the hot dog guy.
He's the grill man, dude. The hot dog master of Commerce City. Dev says, how does Park feel about Rapids 2? Does he want to keep the kids there to develop, or will they be moving up and down to the senior team a lot?
Yeah, it's great. I'm super excited about Rapids 2. Like, when I look at our team, the group that we're going to be able to put out there, I think it's going to be an electric team. There's a lot of speed, a lot of potential in that group, and a lot of really talented young players.
Absolutely.
There's going to be movement the whole time, and that's the great benefit of this. You know, we had a really good relationship with the switchbacks, and that went well. And even before that, with the Charlotte Independents, you know, helped in the development of Sam Vines, which was, you know, really key for us. Yeah, it was great. But we've had a great relationship with the switchbacks. But the ability to have these players training with us every day in our environment, being able to literally be called up and down within 5 minutes. You know, they can be on one field, come to another field, in the building with us. That's really important. You know,
is there a limit to that? Like, I know, like, you know, like NBA has 2-way contracts with their teams, and there's like, you can only go up and down so many times. You only have so many days you're allowed to be with the club. Is there anything like that with Rapids 2 to the senior team?
There's certain limitations, but that's more for players who are signed to Rapids 2 contracts rather than players who are signed to MLS contracts that go down on loan.
Okay.
So someone like Darren Yappy, he can go up and down. That's not going to be a problem at all. And you're going to see him go up and down, you know, because, you know, for Darren's development and what a prospect he is, you know, such a talented kid. And
Yaya loves him some
Yappy,
he
was
for
saying
sure.
that pre-tape.
Big fan of any player that starts with a Ya. So
Yaya,
Yappy, and that's kind of the end of the list for now.
Yeah, we got a few more in there, but, you know, we need to get him as many minutes as possible. So is he going to start for the first team now? No. You know, that's, you know, something he's going to have to build into.
There's some guys to get through on that roster,
and
that's not his fault.
Well, he may get there. Yeah, he may get there.
Absolutely.
But he will get there, I should say, longer term. But in the short term, he'll continue to push. But we want him to get as many minutes as he can with that team, or as many minutes as he can in a professional environment, while still being able to train with us and be able to come on for us when needed, you know. So it's super exciting, and the talent that is in that group, you know, is going to be something to behold. We've had a few injuries which have really hurt us this year, you know. You look at the likes of an Ollie Laraz and a Keita, you know, at the Rapids 2 level. Obviously Brian Galvan's been devastating at the senior level, but, you know, those two players I think would have been really exciting to watch in there too. But you still, like Anthony Markanek, who's going through. Seb Anderson is obviously a phenomenal year last year at the switchbacks. You look at Mayaka, you look at Yaya's favorite, Yaya and Yappy. You know, there's a lot of talent. There's so much talent. There's so much speed. There's so much soccer in that group.
Oh yeah,
I'm really excited about it.
And
really
great venue too.
It is, and I think this is a big deal for us. You know, as we said, we want to be a part of this community, and we know that you know, there's a grouping down there in DU that we hope can get some additional exposure to the Rapids, and that we can grow with that as well. And the first game, for anyone who was there at DU, it was great.
Yeah, I heard a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, it was really
good stuff.
Really cool.
That's awesome. Let's do you want to get into maybe some roster stuff? Is that cool? Just talk about some of the guys, some of the re-signings, some
absolutely,
of the you know, I think the thing that really stood out to me when you look back at the offseason, obviously people really point to the Max acquisition and kind of the mystery of Max and the you know, basically only having his YouTube highlight reel to see. But I think to me the biggest was that string of re-signings of kind of those core guys, right? Like Keegan and the captain. Was there something you saw from those guys? Who else was in that? Who am I missing from there? Why am I blanking?
Brandon Acosta.
Well, yeah, but the re-signing, so it was
Price. You got Beta Short, I think, re-signed as well.
You got Danny Wilson and Mark Anthony K.
There it is, Wilson, K, Price, Keegan.
A huge.
Those guys are all obviously very excel in their roles. And was there something... Like what is maybe something that we don't see that's like a common
well, in terms of things you don't see, we have a lot more video on Max than just his YouTube
channel. Of course,
that is the good thing. We get to see a lot more of that, which is obviously a key part to him not being a mystery to us, I guess. Like on those guys, I think, look, we really believe in continuity. And I think one of the things that we want to do, we've talked all along, we want to focus on youth. So we want to bring youth through. Sometimes what will happen is we'll have a 6-month period like we had where some of our top young players will be sold. You know, they will move on. And we look at this as how do we balance that? It is. It is. It's exactly the way it should be.
I'm a Schalke guy, so
I mean, seen it.
That's all my favorite players it's a 2-year, 3-year window max, and they're out the door.
That's it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a big global business and a big global industry as well. And it's really important for us to be able to show that not only can we identify, recruit, and develop those players, but we can sell them as well. Because ultimately, the top young players around the country, that's what they want. And again, in 15 years, that's going to be completely different. Because I do believe this is going to be the spot to be at that point in time.
So excited.
But for now, we're building to that. We're building to it. But we really want to make sure that we've always got a spine. Because and that's the balancing act, right? We want to be a perennial playoff team.
Sure.
So if you're going to do that, you need to have a spine of good, experienced players who can lead on the field, but who can also help develop those young players.
Yeah.
Those young players need role models. They need people that they can look at and say, okay, that's how you do things. And you're not going to find many better than, I mean, you mentioned Beitashour. Like, we've got Beitashour and Drew Moore who are re-signings as well. Those experienced heads who've won it all.
I guess those were extensions versus
exactly.
re-signings.
Yeah. And then you've got Jack Price. I don't know if I've come across a more complete person when it comes to my time here in this league. An incredible leader, just brilliant in the locker room, very great from a communication perspective. And his on-field play,
I mean, he's a surgeon with those free kicks.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
Wild watching those.
I had a conversation. I mean, I'm chatting with another team. I'm not going to say who or the player.
Yeah.
But we were talking. We were talking about a player, and he said, "Well, he'll be taking free kicks for us." And he was like, "I can understand why he wasn't for you. If I had Jack Price, no one would be touching the ball ever except for him." And that's the kind of regard he's held in around the league. He is the best set piece taker in the league since David Beckham.
Yeah,
that's as far as I'm concerned. That's just the way it is. And I think when you add his set piece delivery with Chris Sharp's set piece preparation, it's a potent combination.
That's awesome.
And that's what it's proven to be. You know, so re-signing Jack as our leader, he's been here for 4 years. He's won team MVP 4 years in a row. I think that says it all. Mark Anthony Kaye, I think we targeted him quite some time ago. We just think he's one of the most talented players in this league. He's obviously been a force with the Canadian national team as well, and they're just incredible.
Good for them.
Campaign
Yeah, I mean,
they've done.
top of the group, qualified.
Phenomenal, great team to watch as well. And we felt that Mark was going to be a really strong addition to our group. He can really pick a pass. He can pick a pass with the best of them. And what you're now starting to see is a more authoritative and aggressive player on the field. Where he's becoming a little bit more physically dominant as well. And if you would have noticed last year, he didn't have a lot of 90-minute performances for us. This year, he's been going 90
I think that
minutes.
Atlanta game specifically, you really saw an athletic edge across the board.
Yeah. There
just
was a few tasty tackles in that game.
And when you were talking about building through U.S. culture, I think a guy like Keegan is really nice to look at, coming up through the NCAA and going to Philly and then coming over to Colorado.
He's Mr. Consistency.
He's actually been a guest on this show before too, and when I think Rapids, that's usually the first guy that comes to my mind is Keegan and how he's really bought in and wants to be here, right? I mean, he probably has his opportunities as any other talented player would, but for him to really speak highly to the culture and to that is really awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, he's critically important. You can play him. I mean, he's played right back, right wing back, right-sided center back,
Sometimes he's up past the attack.
Oh, for sure. He can, I mean, the way we play in some of, the coaching principles that we have, sometimes he's out wide up, sometimes he's in the pocket. He can do it all. To have a player like him who, as you said, has come through the system here, knows what it takes, comes in every day, performs every day to a high level, that's incredibly valuable. And then, if we talked about the two midfielders in Price and Kaye, and then you talk about Keegan and Danny Wilson, Danny is just hands down the best defensive passer in the league.
He's great with the ball at his feet for
Unbelievable.
sure.
Unbelievable. And I think Danny is exactly why we bring in players from abroad and understand that it can take a year to acclimatise or 18 months to acclimatise. Yeah. But then you see the class start to come through. And the things that Danny can do and how he can launch attacks for us from that central defensive spot, it's been phenomenal. You have two incredibly athletic defenders outside him in Lallis and Austin.
Beautiful goal from Lallis last
week. It
weekend.
was, yeah. He followed through. He did really well.
That was awesome.
It really was. So we kind of feel with those extensions that we've again just protected the core, protected what we know is going to allow us to build around that foundation over the next couple of years. Continue to bring in these young players like Max. Like, I'm super excited to have Galvan back. He was unbelievable in the preseason this year, and that was a devastating injury for us. But
I mean, ACLs, you never. That's 3 scary letters when they're put next to each other.
For sure. But he'll come back strong. He's already ahead of schedule.
That's good.
Now we're not going to rush him, and I think we are focused on next year with him, given the condensed season to get the World Cup in this year. But to see the determination on his side and to be able to re-sign him as well was critically important, because we need these top young players. We want to have them for their 2, 3, 4 years of their prime. And then, sure, we can look to move them on into Europe and reinvest that money and have the next the Yayas and Yappies come through.
That's awesome. Hey, I do want to get to this Hattie question, but I do have one more question about the roster and the most latest move of bringing in Vazquez, who every reaction we've seen from Cincinnati fans, I went through their subreddit, searched through Twitter. All the fans love him, and he kind of fits your model of the young, athletic. I mean, what can you kind of give the Rapids fans watching a little what you saw in him and why you think he'd be such a good fit with Fraser and with the club as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, the only frustration we've got is how long it took to get the deal done. I mean, we wanted this deal last year, and obviously they had a change in GM, and Chris really, I've got a good relationship with Chris. We've obviously, when he was at Philly, we did the Keegan deal and the Austin Trusty deal together. So we were pushing for Vazquez for quite some time, because we feel like he's got a lot of the attributes that we really look for. I mean, first things first, he's 6'2". He is built. I mean, you want to get him in here, you're going to get a wider chair. He is a physical specimen.
That's awesome.
He's incredibly athletic, and this is where the kind of scouting and the analytics really come in together, because our scouting guys loved him, but our analytics guys were saying he may be the second most athletic centre back in the league, behind only Miles Robinson. So that's really important to us, because we want players who are super athletic. We want that physicality on the back line, but then from a scouting perspective, his ability on the ball is really, really good. So he's a right footer who plays pretty much exclusively on the left.
Okay.
He likes to play on the left. That's where he prefers to play, and he is as comfortable playing off his left as he is his right. He made his debut for the Ecuadorian national team at left-sided centre back as well. So again, we just see him as a young central defender with real European level upside from an athleticism standpoint. We think his best years are ahead of him. There's other things we look at. We look at the contract situation as well, and we think he's got one of the best contracts in the league, and those things
sounds
are
good to me.
too.
I'm in.
Yeah, they're important, so you're looking to try and build through this, and again, he just fits what we're looking to do. And then you start doing the due diligence work, because again, if you want to join the Colorado Rapids as a player, you better be a good character. You better have a good mentality. And, there's a New Zealand rugby team saying that people, I'm not going to say it on this podcast, but people should go and find that out. And that's pretty important when we're bringing people in. And he fit them all. What a great guy.
Yeah. I already see him finishing off some of these price set pieces.
That's been a big part of the conversation too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Can you pull up this Hattie comment that came through last year? Hattie McHatface. Nice name there.
That's a great name.
I'm curious, is there a star player in the world who embodies an archetype or play style that would be excellent on the Rapids? So I think this guy's thinking of a way to sort of embody Rapids culture that you're trying to build as a whole. Is there a world level star that you see that's like, oh man, that guy is what we're trying, like, do you see something in there?
I mean, I grew up a Man United fan.
Let's go!
That was certainly my team. That was my dad's team. So that's from the 1990 FA Cup final.
Yeah, you heard that, right?
It was my first game at Wembley, seeing them beat Crystal Palace. So it kind of, even though I'm probably leaning a bit more towards Arsenal these days for obvious reasons, but it pains me to say it, but I'm going to have to pick a Man City player. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne. Is kind of, he would embody the type of player, like, because I think it's not only the technical qualities that everybody can see, but it's his selflessness. You talk about somebody who can play in multiple different positions, but at the end of the day will always do what is best for the team. That's incredible. And he's played everywhere for Man City. Absolutely. He's played as a false 9 for Man City.
This season has been unreal.
Yeah, he is truly, truly exceptional. And I think when you watch him play, the speed at which he plays, the speed at which he thinks the game, his understanding of the game is at a level that I think we're incredibly fortunate to be able to watch. And yeah, I wouldn't mind sticking him into our team.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Let's get that in motion here. Let's start the Twitter campaign to get De Bruyne and Commerce City. Yeah. Though you heard that, right? You heard it.
I did hear it.
You heard.
I give him a lot of BS because he's a Man U fan.
You heard United in there?
Yeah, I also heard he's an Arsenal man. So
yeah.
He's a big Marcelo Flores guy. I can tell right now.
I've seen the hateful comments in there. I hating on my United kit when I wear it on the show. I've seen it, but look. Real heads know. That's all I'm going to say to you guys in the comments there.
He also said he's a big Arsenal fan, so look out for Marcelo.
Hey, we're company men here too. Let's go. Yeah. Okay, let's Yeah. You wanna do these little get to know Padraig real quick? You want to do some of those? Toss some of those questions at us.
Let's see what Padraig prefers out of everything.
Okay. So you can get my opinion on these things too, although it's less important.
Nobody cares. Stay away. We're here for Padraig and only Padraig.
Let me tell you, I'm going to say it either way. So
I figured. So I have your mic muted for now.
Oh no! Wait, really? Wait,
you're good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
All right. Do you prefer Christmas or your birthday?
Christmas.
Ooh.
Oh,
Time machine or magic wand?
Time machine would be pretty cool.
Yep. Agreed. Yep.
Yeah.
That's actually growth or security.
Growth.
Skill or popularity.
Skill.
Man, this is awesome.
Happy endings or sad endings?
Happy endings.
Happy? What kind of question is that?
Yeah, that's a weird.
Yo, you don't know, man. Maybe you like crying a little bit at night. Right? I cry.
I'd
sometimes.
much rather cry those happy tears. Come on.
All right, bar of soap or body wash?
Body wash.
Ooh, yeah, I got that Harry's. That stuff smells so
I thought
good.
you were saying that you were hairy. I'm like,
I am hairy, but also Harry's. Love that stuff. Smells great.
Success or happiness?
It's got to be happiness.
Happiness helps breed success.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I'll take that answer.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
I'll agree with you guys. I was thinking about success for a little bit, but
look, Eye on the Prize is great too. I'm not going to hate on that. Yeah.
Speeding ticket or parking ticket?
I guess parking tickets are cheaper, depending on which one it is in Denver. Right. Some of those can be pricey.
Yeah, I've got a few of both since I've been over here. I'm probably a little bit more susceptible to getting. Well, I don't know. Actually, people differ. Yeah, neither is great. Let's be honest. I've had too many.
I put you on the spot.
Yeah, I've had too many of both. I'm going to try and avoid them.
Would you prefer breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Yeah, big
breakfast. He's
a man after my heart.
Yeah. I'm a breakfast guy. I went out. I was at Apple Ridge Cafe for breakfast this morning. I love it.
There's a lot of good breakfast spots around here.
What is your go-to breakfast place?
I do like Snooze.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Snooze.
Actually, so Dev Machine is part of their IT for Snooze. He's a big Snooze guy.
I love Snooze, man.
Yeah, Snooze is good.
Excellent mimosas. Just putting that out there.
Pancakes for the table is the best at Snooze.
Yeah.
Because they have those crazy flavors. So you just put one in the middle and everyone can go at it.
There you go.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Sports car or a pickup truck?
You said you're a Jeep guy, right?
Yeah. Like, we don't have pickup trucks in Ireland. That always cracks me up. You come over here.
Dude, some of these trucks are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's no more of those little 2-seat Ford Rangers. You don't see that anymore. Yeah. From when I was a kid. They're massive.
I've not had a sports car either, to be honest. Like, I did get into, I'm going to blank, Hugo Relega. I'm blanking on his name. The Colombian striker who's at Fulham.
Yeah.
Yeah, his agent picked me up back in 2015 in his sports car.
Oh,
and I think I'm too old now. I think if I try and get into a sports car and the doors are on the ground, like, that's just going to, my back will keel over. So I'll go with a pickup truck.
I'm a pickup truck, my guy.
Right, great.
I like
sports car. Speed, baby, speed.
What speed when you can run over everything? Just saying.
That's fair.
Perfect teeth or perfect hair? You got both, clearly. Very good looking man. But like, which one would you
the charmer, dude.
Dude, I got to win some points here.
I'm working on one. Like, I guess I come from like an area of the world that's not renowned for perfect teeth, and I've just got big, thick hair. I guess the older I get, the more thankful I am that I've still got a full head of hair. So I'm gonna go with hair on that.
There's a reason I wear a beanie on every episode.
There's a reason I wear a hat too. My hair's not great either.
I have no hair.
Horror movie or comedy movie?
Depend. I would say comedy. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Comedy.
Give me some of your favorite comedies.
I like pretty much like all the Judd Apatow stuff.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, big into that.
Superbad, Knocked Up.
Yeah, they're all good. This is
the end.
Dude, like,
all this kind
this
of
is
stuff.
why I love pouring, man. Like, he loves breakfast. Chooses a pickup truck.
Judd Apatow.
And loves funny movies.
Pineapple Express probably got to be my favorite of those
I'll
Judd
be honest, like
Apatows.
films like Notting Hill and stuff like that, I can get on board with all
Okay,
that.
rom-coms. Yo, I love a good rom-com.
Rom-coms are my, like, it's comedy and then rom-coms
There you
for
go.
me.
There you
Had a
go.
rom-com.
If you have to have a horror pick, though, what's your go-to?
So I remember when I was a kid, like quite young, I somehow managed to see The Omen.
Whoa, nice, Damien.
And I'm not gonna lie, that terrified me. I think I was like 5 or 6.
Creepy.
That was pretty rough. And there was another one a few years ago that it was a few years ago. It was actually when I was in the United States in Boston in '99. Stigmata, I think was the name.
Okay,
of it.
yeah.
I like that. And then there was one that ended up being, there was a bunch of them after that, but the first one was really good. But I'm blanking on the name of that now. Maybe
if I have to pick one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Jessica Biel one.
All right.
Shout out.
That's just because it has Jessica Biel. It's not even because it's a good movie.
Fairview High School's finest. Shout out. If she's watching, I'm sure she is. Shout out.
Just because it's Jessica Biel.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a dirty bathroom or a dirty kitchen?
You have to choose one?
You have to choose
I
one.
cannot stand a dirty kitchen. It drives. I mean, I'm a former restaurant guy. I can't do it.
I've worked in a restaurant kitchen as well. Like, so that is not good. But I kind of feel like a dirty bathroom's not good.
That's true too.
Like,
you can't.
I would why would you have either? I guess.
Yeah. That's too tough.
Hey, who said it? We never said it was going to be a little softballs. We're trying to get to
too tough.
We're trying to get no pouring.
That's true. That's right. All right. Keep them coming.
All right. Very last one.
Oh.
Where is it at? I lost it. Oh, live in a warm climate or one with all 4 seasons?
All 4 seasons.
Warm.
Yeah, you're a California guy. I know that.
Hey, look. Summer eternally is where it's at. Gotta say.
You gotta love fall and winter, man. They're beautiful. It's spring.
You can't get much better than this. I mean, Ireland is pretty much mild all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People think it rains far more than it does. It drizzles. Like, you can deal with it. It's fine. But like having the seasons, that's pretty epic.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with that.
I got a couple. Yeah. Can I run a couple? And you can answer these ones.
Yeah, go ahead, man. It's your show. Like,
Okay.
I'm just here to supply you.
It's our show. Yeah. We're the dynamic duo.
You're the pretty one, man. Why do you think I'm behind
That's
the camera?
true. I'm the face.
Yeah. Why do you think I'm behind the
Voguing
computer?
over here. Okay. Non-US, non-Mexico team you're pulling for most at the World Cup. Non-CONCACAF, because Mac's obviously in there. So.
Non-CONCACAF?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times, like, I'm going to be looking for really good games, and I'm just genuinely interested in a team to perform. If I was going to pick one, I'd pick Denmark.
Okay.
I know Kasper Hjulmand quite well, and I think some of the things he's done, I think has been phenomenal. I think I can't remember their full group, but I know they're in with France. I think that's going to be a really, really interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously everything that happened with Christian Eriksen last year, I think there's going to be a lot of people pulling for them. But yeah, I think I'd probably, just with the personal connection there, my best friend from high school lives there as well, so I've visited there quite a bit. So yeah, I think I'd probably go with Denmark.
I think that's a really cool pick. I mean, Eriksen getting those goals against Chelsea last weekend was. What a scene to see it with Bentley going into Chelsea and pulling out a win with him scoring. That was like, I got emotional when I'm watching it. And obviously Chelsea losing didn't hurt that. Yeah. Who's your pick?
That's hard, man. And
I'll tell you my pick.
you can tell me yours because I got to think about it. If I'm honest.
I got to go Portugal. My guy Bruno re-signed. Love to see it. You saw Bruno, or the Ronaldo assist to Bruno in qualifying. That was gorgeous. We need to see more of that.
You just can't beat. I mean, the World Cup is just such an incredible spectacle. Like, and I think it's so
nothing touches it.
No. I mean, it's just incredible for that month-long period. The standard, the quality, and just the different styles coming together, and that's why I think it's just so exciting to see. I can't wait for it, and I think that's why we're so fortunate that we're going to have it on our doorstep in 2026. Like, it's just such a big deal, and to have that level of competition, of the exposure, and for the next generation of soccer fans to be able to, hopefully come here and watch it in Denver, the best talent in the world. It's incredible.
I'm just
Lord.
my bucket list is to go watch Mexico play at the World Cup.
Okay.
So now that it's coming here,
yeah.
If Mexico ever won the World Cup, I would cry so much that I would become depressed because I'm so
Mexico
happy.
getting based in Denver for the 2026 World Cup would be pretty nice. Maybe a game here.
I would literally cry.
Oh, man.
It's not happening because they're going to be based in Mexico, clearly.
Well, maybe as they go through the tournament.
That would be the one place.
I assume you would just have them all play in one in each, right? I mean, or is the U.S. going to play all in the U.S., Canada play all in Canada?
Well, I mean, we'll have to see.
I mean, we don't know yet, right? But yeah.
The most important thing is we need games here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any World Cup game would
literally
be fine here. And I thought about it. It would probably have to be Spain.
Spain?
Yeah, I love Barcelona. Love Pedri.
Oh, okay.
Best young midfielder in the world.
Yeah, they
gotta go with him.
Two good ones coming.
Yeah,
right there.
So that's my pick. I love him too much.
They probably. They'll get through. You'll see some interesting games with them.
Watch out for Ireland in 2026.
2026. You heard it here first.
Mexico Ireland game. Let's go.
There we go.
You heard it here first. All right. I got to ask. We're wrapping up. It's the end. We're there. You know what everyone in the Rapids world wants to ask. So I have to be the one to ask.
I feel bad for you, Mitch.
You're the one that told me to ask. So
hey, way to throw me under the table right away.
The DP9. What is there anything you can speak to or want to? I know. I have long said, look, it's a process. We have Rubio. He's had success as a DP striker. But what can you speak to? Obviously, without getting into too much that you can't speak to.
Yeah.
What can you give to the Rapids fans that obviously want to hear something around that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've spoken about it before. Like,
sure.
Our focus is always on making the team better,
right?
Like that's where everything starts and ends. We want to make the team better, and thankfully, we're in a position right now. We're making this team better. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
No,
we're not back in 2017, 18 when there was a lot of players that we wanted to shift out there. We do want to bring in more attacking talent. Like, we want to bring in more players in that area. That might be one, that might be two. We've got a number of things on the go right now.
Sure.
Some would be in this window before it closes at the kind of start of May, and some could be in the summer window.
In that July window, yeah.
And again, the thing always comes back to me is, like, are we getting the right person for this club?
Sure.
That's what it is. They've got to be able to come in, they've got to fit in with what we're doing, and they've got to make us better. And, as I said, thankfully, since Robin's been here, we've been able to execute in a lot of our plans. We've got the best record in the league since that time. So this is a good team that's doing well, that finished as the number one seed.
Right.
But we're never going to stop wanting to get better.
Right.
And, there's all the thing about it. I don't really spend too much time thinking about the designations. We will put different players in different positions. Theoretically, we could have lots of DPs right now with players.
Well, I was surprised that Viacia, I didn't know there was a slot for Viacia to go into like that, right? Like, and there's, and I feel like I know a pretty good amount about roster building, and there's like so.
That's the jigsaw you talked about at the beginning. Like, and what we're aiming to do is to make sure that we're putting everyone in the right spots, that we're maximizing the team return.
Right.
We're maximizing, like, our ability to perform on the field. But yeah, look, I mean, Diego started the year off very well, and I think Diego does a number of things that are absolutely critical to what Robin's trying to execute week in and week out. At the same point in time, this goes for every position. And we say this to the players. As soon as we sign players, we openly say, from this day on, it's my job to replace you. And it's your job to prove that you shouldn't be replaced.
Right.
And that's a healthy atmosphere to have there, because everyone's pushing. So yeah, we've got a number of really exciting targets.
That's awesome.
We've got a number of different types, because we want to have the flexibility of being able to play a 3-5-2, a 4-3-3, different systems depending on what we're faced with. But, like, we're never satisfied. And at the end of the day, we've had a really good regular season record over the last couple of years, but we've not done what we want to do in the playoffs, and what our fans, what everyone wants us to do. And we've got to get better at that. And we have to find a way to win in the playoffs. So we're not going to leave any stone unturned in our quest for that. And we're committed to continuing to build this perennial playoff team, and ultimately to bringing a cup back here. That's what it's all about. That's why we're here, and that's what we're determined and committed to do.
Look, I've said it all season. I think every single episode, I've said it. Like, patience. This team is very good, and they obviously want to get better, right? Yeah. Teams aren't just one finished product and it's done forever, right? It's
we want to be good, and we
daily
want to be good
changes
for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I mean, you got anything else you want to bring up to Porg before he's out of here?
I had a question, but I just got so intrigued by everything he was talking about the DP9. I got lost in the trance of, like, him talking. I think my other question is, like, what other acquisitions are you looking for? Like, I know that, like, how you're talking about, it's not just one position you're looking at. You're looking all the way around. without throwing nobody under the bus, of course, like you have a roster to build. Can you tell us about like what kind of process and what other positions you're looking at around the league and outside of the league? Yeah. Like I know you brought in a lot of like Latin American players lately. What kind of success have you had there?
We've had a lot of success there, and I think real credit to our scouting staff on those. Like to be able to identify, we expected Sam Vines to go, but not to go when he did. We expected at least one more, if not two more windows. So when that happened, it's like, okay, where are we on our depth charts for left back? And immediately we had two guys that we were able to jump on, and that was huge. So being able to go and get someone like Lucas Estevez and have the deal almost set up immediately, that again shows the strength of the team, right? The strength of the group, the staff that we've built here, that they were able to have these recommendations and allow us to go and make that decision so quickly. So whether it's Lucas, whether it's Max, obviously Brian Galvan, Barrios is coming a different way, Diego, Nico Mosqueda, Brian Acosta now. I'm probably missing somebody, but
we've got even Mayasi is like Ecuadorian.
Yeah, Mayasi and I coming through. Like we've got a lot of really talented and hungry South and Central Americans that we're super excited about. When it comes to what positions we're looking for, though, this is probably the moment where it's most gratifying for me, because we're no longer in a position where we're looking for, we need to improve this position or this position or this position. We're able to actually go out there and pinpoint, we want to get the best player. Like we really do like our team. We think our team is a very competitive team and is going to put themselves in a position to again win a championship by qualifying for the playoffs. But we've also built it in such a way that we've got the ability to go out and improve when the right opportunity presents itself. So sure, we want to bring in more attacking talent to keep that competitiveness there and to make sure there's good competition. But, something came up this week where one of the top young players we believe in the country, we started looking and saying, okay, something else has happened at a different team. Can we take advantage of that? Can we go in and acquire this player? So we're in a fortunate position where we're no longer thinking day to day or week to week. We're now thinking year to year. That's awesome. So we're out there looking for the best young talent. And sometimes that might mean bringing somebody in who is going to be blocked, maybe even for one or two windows, but we know it's the right decision for us as a club. And again, it's helping us just get better from an overall perspective. So that's something that, again, I'm going to give just huge credit to our folks, right the way around the building for helping us do that. And, as you said earlier, it's not just about the scouting, the analytics, but it's also about our communications, our digital, how we promote these players, how we kind of talk about these players, and ultimately try and make this a destination for players that want to be here and better their career. And that's something that we talk to the players a lot about. How can we get better, and how can we create overall environment that's going to allow them to reach their maximum potential. So I think we're in a good spot, but we're never going to stop. We want to win, and we want to win every year.
That was a great answer. That's all I wanted to know, honestly. That was the last thing that was in my mind.
There you go. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Pork, so much. We really appreciate you coming down and checking out DNVR and just, building from here.
By the way, the music here has been absolutely incredible. It's been hard to listen to the questions. I've just been bopping away. It's really
think
good.
That's just touch tunes. And sometimes I'd say you came in on a good day, because I know the Nuggets guys on air were complaining about the music this weekend. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and, hit that like button, subscribe to DNVR Sports, get a subscription at thednvr.com, grab your shirts from the locker, and we'll see you next time. Up the Pids.